Hello, my name is Saye. I just went to a thrift store and found this beautiful glass bowl which would be perfect for a woodland terrarium. If you want to learn how to make one too, take a look at this video. The most important tool for me in making a terrarium is having a lazy Susan. When you have that, you can put your container on there and rotate it, so it's really critical. The second part is having a good container. Now, because woodland terrariums need high humidity, it has to be closed. So this is something I picked up at the thrift store. So it's got a jar, it's got the lid. It can be quite fun, either if you plant in it vertically or horizontally. This one I got it at a store, and it's got its own cork, so that's the second way. For a case like this where it's a glass bowl that's open, well, we're going to use plastic wrap to cover the top, and I'll just, any plastic wrap will do. I'll just, after the planting's finished, I can cover this, stretch it tight, make sure it's nice and sealed, because we only need to open it about once every 3 weeks for watering, and the rest of the time it's going to stay closed. And once it's tight, I'm going to take a cutter or a knife, just hold my hand steady along the and rotate and get a nice clean line and remove the extra plastic, and it's going to look really good. And the next time you need to water your terrarium, you can just lift that up and reapply a new one. For your first terrarium, I suggest you start with a large one. It's much easier to work with. You want to have a wide opening so you can reach inside, and it's easier to manage the scale. The smaller the container, believe it or not, the harder it is to get a good looking landscape.
To build your terrarium, you're going to need to layer first a layer of gravel and stones to catch the extra water, charcoal to balance your soil, and then potting soil. On top of that, you're going to put your plants and manure and rocks and decoration and cover the container. I'll start by layering some decorative stones so it looks good from the outside. And in the center, I'll put gravel to capture this extra water.
So now I'm just going to add a thick layer of charcoal. I've already started putting some. I'll put in maybe another cup. So this will really help make my soil healthy and not get acidic over time. You can buy your charcoal at garden supply centers, or use some of the links that I provide in the descriptions. And last, I'm going to put a layer of potting soil. So I've already moistened my potting soil with a little bit of water. It's not wet, it's just a little bit damp. And this is where the magic happens. Now that I have quite a bit of, I have a couple inches of soil in here, I can start thinking about creating interest. So maybe adding some rocks. It's a nice piece of woodwork. You put that over there. Maybe this is another piece of woodwork. Maybe over here. And I'll move some of the soil around. Maybe more on top, less on the bottom. So I'll have plants with shallow roots in the front and plants with that are taller in the back. Let's take a look at some plants. in the segment about propagating for terrariums, we spoke about how to make these small plants. And so it's from these trays that I now pull out a selection of Selaginella, Chamaedorea, different nerve plants and polka dots and acacias. And here we have a really nice selection of ferns, some more acacias. So I'm going to be using these to build.
I'll begin by putting the taller plants in the back. I'll just make a little indentation and plant them in. And clean up any dead leaves and just tuck them in and add soil as needed. I'll start with the larger plants so I'll get a sense of scale and leave room for the plants in the front. You can rotate your container so you can access it from all different sides and keep looking at it to make sure things look balanced and nice. When it comes to creating a water feature, the easiest way is with a mirror. But to stop things from moving, I like to use this clear, transparent, waterproof silicone and break little bits of slate, which is a nice flat stone, and attach them to the side of the mirror. This way it hides the edges, but it also gives it a natural look. And because it's waterproof, it's not going to come off with the humidity. I'll try to layer them for a natural look, and I'll even use little bits of bark or wood to kind of give a sense of more natural layering effect. I place the pond in the lower section of the terrarium, and I'll put some decorative rocks and things around it. This wood piece, maybe not. Just try it out and see what works. And then I can put the smaller plants in. I'll use a little piece of a stick to make a hole for the plant and put the roots in, knowing that it's going to take a while for them to settle. And I'll finish with the fern, which because it gives roots everywhere, it can drape over different rocks and everything and bind itself. Use a little bit of a sprayer to add moisture. I'll tie up the root in a little bundle so I can tuck that plant in. And keep rotating it and looking to make sure things look good from the outside. And put different color plants to give it a nice sense of color. I can put the ficus in. And now I'll just do a little bit of cleanup, and I'm going to use aquarium gravel, black one, to cover the soil so it keeps the plants in place but also makes it look way better, cleaning up little bits of soil with a brush. And I also like to use a different color aquarium gravel or just decorative rocks to differentiate the different levels and add interest. If it's the same material, it just kind of gets boring. But this way, it looks good, it helps keep the plants in place, and it also helps them dry out. And finally, a couple pieces of decorative rock to tie everything all together.
So now our final step is we're going to give a little bit of extra spray for humidity, and we'll close up our terrarium. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to stabilize, so keep an eye out. See if there's excess humidity buildup, and open the plastic. What you should also pay attention to is never put this in direct sunlight, because like a greenhouse, the temperatures are going to rise dramatically, and everything inside essentially is going to overheat and die. Like a woodland, it likes diffuse sunlight, and we will only water it once about every 3 weeks. But first we have to keep an eye to make sure that things have stabilized. I'm going to trim this up. Take off the extra plastic, and that's your first terrarium. Best of luck, and I look forward to seeing your creations. If you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos about how to make terrariums as well as printed and planted botanical art, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's going to be additional comments posted on my blog at www.sayesunstudio.com, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Until next time, thank you very much, and see you soon.